Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, The Quality Analyst. Now, before we jump into today's topic, I want you to pause for a moment and think about this. So far in XPath, we have understood what XPath is, why absolute XPath is dangerous, and why relative XPath is the industry standard. Okay, so but today we are entering the real power of XPath, because XPath without attributes is like trying to find a person in a city without knowing their name, address, or a phone number. You might find them, but it's very unreliable. So in today's session, we are going to talk about XPath with attributes. You will clearly understand how to use attributes like ID, name, and type, placeholder, how to combine multiple attributes, and how to use logical conditions like and or. Okay, so and trust me, once you understand this properly, XPath will start feeling logical instead of confusing. So let's slow down, take it step by step, and begin. So let's first answer a very important question. So why do we even need attributes in XPath? Can we not directly write the XPath using tag name? So look at any modern web application. There are hundreds, sometimes thousands of elements. Okay, so multiple buttons, inputs, links. So let's say, for example, if you see, this is the practice page which we have created for this project. Even if you see this, it has multiple elements. So if you simply right click on this page, and let's say if you try to find out the buttons, okay, so let's say buttons. So if you see, there are almost 71 buttons are there. So maybe you can simply type slash 58 buttons are there on this web page. Okay, so multiple buttons, multiple inputs, multiple links. Even if you see like typing here A, we have 44 links in total on this page. Okay, so if you simply say find a button, XPath will reply which one, because XPath will find 44 buttons, right? But 44 links, so it will not be able to find like give you the exact locator. So definitely it will reply which one. So that's where attribute comes into play. Attributes are like identities, markers for elements. So things like ID, name, type, class, on click, placeholder, and there are many more attributes are there. So they describe what the element is, what it does, and how it behaves. So XPath becomes powerful when you tell it find me the element that has the specific attribute value. Okay, so let's start with the most popular attribute first, that is ID. The ID attribute is supposed to be unique on the page. That makes it very reliable. In XPath, attributes are accessed using @ symbol. So if I say @ID, that means I am telling XPath look at the ID attribute of the element. Okay, so let me show you one simple example here. Okay, let's find out the, okay, so this is the one. So there is a button, click and wait. Okay, so let's inspect this again. You can use this button and then click on it. Okay, so if you see the HTML code for this, oh sorry, extend this. Okay, and then let's use this. Okay, so if you see, there is a button tag which is start and end tag, then again ID attribute, name attribute, on click attribute, and then click and wait is the enclosed text. So if you see ID, so again this is this looks to be unique wait button, and then this wait button is nothing but the ID attribute value. Similarly for name we have wait example button value, and for on click we have wait example, and this is a function as a attribute value for on click. Okay, so if I want to locate this button using XPath, what I will do is, again like we are talking about ID, so I will use ID. So I will do one thing. So again, as we have discussed earlier, the relative XPath, so we will only talk about relative XPath. It will start with a double slash, and then we need to add the start tag here. Okay, and then just add a square bracket. Okay, and then @id. So like this will tell, we need to find out the id attribute value. Okay, so now we are providing the id attribute value here. Okay, so I have just copy paste it. So you see, once we added it, it's showing 1 of 1, and the click and wait button got highlighted. Okay, so what it will do is, like, if you see /, so it will tell search anywhere, then find a button. So again, if you let me just do it here. Okay, okay, so you see, if you /, and then just add a button here. Okay, then it will show you 58 buttons. Okay, and then we are adding this another location of the attribute. So with id, it will search with id and its value. Okay, so id equals wait button, whose id is wait button. Okay, so find a button whose id value is wait button. So very clear, very readable, and very stable. So this is one of the most commonly used XPath patterns in the real projects. Okay, okay, so let's copy this. Remove this slash. Okay, let me copy this here, and then I will just paste it in the notepad. Okay, so now id is not always available. Okay, so in many application, especially forms, developers rely heavily on name attribute. So for example, again we will see some attribute having, like, some element having name attribute. Okay, so let me find out here. Okay, so this is the show message button. Okay, so again, inspect this show message button, and then you see here there is a button tag having type attribute, and button as a type attribute value, and then similarly we have name attribute and this name attribute value. Okay, so now if I want to locate this particular button with name attribute, so what I will do is, again I just need to copy this, and then again I have a button here added. So like, if I search with button, we have 58 buttons, but I want to find the button having name is equal to show message button. So you see 1 of 1 result is showing, and the show message button gets highlighted. So this way we can write XPath with a name attribute. So again, let's say for example, if you want to make this dynamic. Okay, so let's say you want like any tag having its name as show message button, then what you can do is you can simply remove this button tag, and then simply you can add star here. So what it will do, it will take all the elements having name is equal to show message button. But in this case, if we have elements, let's say for example we have 2-3 input elements, or maybe button elements having the name as show message button, in that case, if we use star here, we might get multiple elements results. Okay, but for now, as it is only one name, only one such result is available on our web page, that's why we can put as a star as well. Okay, so next is using type. So type attribute. So again, if you see, there is a type attribute, and then there is a like value as a button. Okay, so what I will do is I will simply use this type, and then I will add here as type, because I want to find a button with a type attribute. Okay, and then maybe I can just change this to button, and then I can add button here because the type attribute value is again button. Okay, you see the button gets highlighted. So but let me give you an important tip here. Type alone is often not unique, so there may be some, like, many inputs of the type text. Okay, so many buttons of type submit, right, or type button. So again, you should not be relying on type attribute like most of the time. Okay, so type works best when combined with other attributes, and that brings us to the next concept. So if you want to use such kind of attribute having type as button, then definitely we can club this along with some multiple attributes. Okay, so we will talk about it now. Again, for example, I will just like add it here. and then I will add our name attribute also. Okay, so similarly, like if you have another elements, you can definitely give it a try. Let me check if it has a name attribute. Yeah, you see this number of years is also having the name attribute. So it, like again, ignore id. I just want to write XPath with a name attribute. Then it's having the input tag, and then name is as attribute, and interest years as attribute value for name. Okay, so again I will just copy this, and then again first thing, just double slash, and then double slash, and then as we have input tag, add a square bracket, and then we are looking for a locator having name attribute as this interest years value. You see the interest years text field gets highlighted. Okay, so I will add this also. Okay, so this way we can use name attribute. Okay, so now in real automation you will rarely rely on just one attribute. You will often combine multiple attributes to make your XPath stronger. Okay, and then it should be uniquely identifying the element. So again I have like similar example of that particular click and wait button. So again navigate to that particular button. Here it is. Okay, this one. So click and wait. Okay, again just click on it. Now you see we have multiple attributes. ID is equal to wait button, name is equal to wait example button, on click is equal to wait example. Again if we have unique ID, then definitely we should not be going with the multiple attributes. But again, just for the demonstration purpose, we can refer that. Okay, and then like we can just write a simple XPath. But yeah, definitely if it is the ID, we should not be going with such kind of example. Okay, but yeah, like for the demonstration purpose, I think we are good. Okay, so let's say we want to find out the button which is having ID is wait button, as well as name is equal to wait example button. Okay, so in that case we can use multiple attributes also. Okay, so again I will simply, what I will do is I will just copy this in our file, and then you can simply write the XPath. So button, again double slash, and the like the tag, start tag, and then here again XPath starts with @. So here we need to add @ because we are searching with the ID attribute value. Okay, so then here you need to provide this particular wait button. Copy this and then paste it over here. And now as we want to add multiple attributes, right, so we can add and function here. Okay, like we can simply use and here, and then we can add another example, right? Sorry, I'm just close this. Okay, here, and then inside this, because as we are looking for two attributes, so @id is equal to wait button, and then name is equal to this one. Okay, again you can simply use this. Okay, and then you are good with the @. So again, so now it will search for the element for the button having ID is equal to wait button, and @name is equal to wait example button. So again, if you simply try this in our HTML, then you will simply able to find out the particular click and wait button. So here you can also add one more. Let's say for example, if you want to add one more, then you can use again and then you can use simply this and on click, and then just pass it here and as it is. Okay, so it's not a best practice to use such kind of functions here, but yeah, like again just for the demonstration we can definitely use it. Okay, and then you see it's uniquely identifying the element. Okay, so basically this XPath says find a button whose ID is wait button and whose name is wait example button, and the on click attribute value is wait example. Okay, so this makes your locator extremely precise. So let's say, for example, if there are let's ignore id for now. Let's for example, there are buttons having name this like wait example button. There are multiple buttons are available with this name. Then in that case you might go with multiple attributes. Okay, so even if the developer add more buttons later, this XPath will still point to the correct button. Okay, and this is how automation engineers think. So now let's talk clearly about and condition. Okay, so and means all condition must be true. Okay, if one condition fails, XPath will not find element. Okay, so let's try it. And then you see I just change this. I just change this name like because there is no such attribute find out, because one condition is failing. You see there are like you won't be able to locate the element. And then if you again correct it, sorry, okay, so now if you see it's not like locating the element. So if you see here, I think we have made some mistake. Okay, so here I added the button here. So now you see it's able to find out the particular button here. Okay, so that's what and condition does. Okay, so all the conditions should be true. Even one fails, it won't be able to find out the particular element. Okay, so use and when you want high accuracy, you want stability, and you are confident about attribute values. So and conditions are very common in frameworks, especially when dealing with dynamic pages. Okay, so next topic, now let's talk about the or condition. So at least one condition must be true in or case. Okay, so again we will talk about the same example. So now we have written and like with the and condition, and it's automatic like exactly locating the particular element. So let's change it to or now. Okay, let's make it or, and then again you see one or and one and is still fine because all the conditions are working. And then again now I have changed both the conditions to or, again it is working fine. And then let's break this condition, and then you see one condition is failing, but the second condition will still pass. Okay, so let's say now I will change both. Okay, so because this is still passing, right? So because this one will still work. So that's why even if you are breaking two, it will still work. Okay, and now I will just change this, and now it should not work. So you see now it is showing 0 of 0. So this is the beauty of or. So at least one condition must be true, and for and all the condition should pass, right? So or is useful in special situations. For example, when attribute values change based on the environment, or when one attribute is present in one version of app, okay, and missing in another. So but be careful, or conditions can sometimes match unexpected elements. So or should be used widely, like wisely. Okay, so not blindly, of course. Okay, so let me give you some real world advice now. So use id whenever possible. So again, that's the golden locator. If id is missing, use name. If one attribute is not enough, combine multiple attributes. Prefer and over or for stability. And always think, will this XPath still work after UI changes? So XPath is not about writing something that works once. So XPath is about writing something that keeps working. Okay, so to summarize today's session, XPath with attributes is the backbone of real automation. Attributes gives identity to the elements, and combining attributes makes your locators very strong. Okay, and gives your XPath as a precision, and or gives flexibility, but with a caution. So if this session helped you understand XPath better, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel and share it with someone learning Selenium. In the next video, we will go deeper into XPath functions like contains, starts with, and text function. Okay, and there are many more. We will be covering those in the upcoming sessions. So I will see you in the next class.